We are on the 14th of May and we have left Elvas this morning, crossing over the Guadiana River.
And here we are, back in Spain. And there's the old border posts. All a bit derelict now after all these years.
We're going to travel through the Extremadura, I had to think about that, region of Spain. What a contrast to Portugal. It's flat, and quite clearly the predominant harvest in this particular area is olives, and the olives are grown, clearly grown for mechanical harvesting. Very straight lines, many trees. It kind of belies the romantic myth of the olive grove, the nets, the gnarly old pickers. Anyway, we're continuing through. Our destination today is Merida, and we'll tell you a bit about that as we get there.
On previous trips, we've always used the Wash Me or Revolution washing machines, but these don't seem to exist very much in Spain, probably because they have these, which are so much cheaper. Today, we're using the 19 kilo machine, which was €8.50. They also have a next size down, which I think was a 15 kilo, which is €7, and a 7 kilo, which is €4.50. And then they've also got the dryers, which are also not expensive.
Okay, well, that's the washing done. Darrelle has the unenviable task of putting it away. And we have moved now to our park up for the night, which isn't the most exciting or exotic. We are right in the centre of the city of Merida. €15 for the night, which also includes electricity if you want it. And we're going to go into the city. We believe there might be some Roman things to see. So the first thing we come to here in Merida is a really excellent visitor centre in the town hall, with a great display of all things Roman, and some good explanations as well. This certainly bodes well for our visit here today. What was perhaps of particular interest was the fact that Romans used to eat lying down. That way, they could continue to eat, have a sleep, have a bit more food, have a sleep, have a bit more food. And that was supposedly an aspect of being of the high society. The campervan parking area is immediately behind the town hall, and it's only a 10-minute walk to the very first of their main attractions. So we bought a complete circuit ticket, which was €17 and covers, I think, 8 things. I don't propose to give you a guided tour, but we'll start off. You can see in front, this is a sedimentation tank, and just behind it is the aqueduct coming in. So the aqueduct brought the water into the city, and then the water went through a sedimentation process where any solids and bits and pieces were filtered out. So this site, when it was excavated in 1957, was buried under approximately 3 meters of soil. And of course, to be truly Roman, you will enjoy bathing.
There are some incredibly well preserved mosaics here. This has the wine harvest mosaic, where you can see people treading grapes, just like they still do in Porto or the Douro Valley. And then behind it, there's a mosaic of 2 children.
So the house with the square that we've seen the remains and all the mosaics was abandoned in the 4th century. This area was then used for burials. These are the remains of a mausoleum, influential Roman freeman who died in the middle of the 3rd century.
Second thing on our list in Merida is the theatre and the amphitheatre.
We were just discussing that we see so many Roman remains, but more often than not is, oh, that mosaic's been terribly well preserved, and isn't it clever, and isn't it astonishing? And then we came around the corner and we see this. What the actual what's it? Look at this. I mean, obviously it's in use. Isn't that wonderful? 2,000 years of entertaining people. This really was quite the cultural centre with the theatre and then the amphitheatre. Here we can see the original brick arch leading down to the central entrance gate. An extraordinary place to be. It's likely the victorious gladiators came out of this door. In the 1st century, Emperor Augustus banned death in the arena, although later other emperors lifted this ban. I really don't think I'd much like to have been down here when it was going on. The 17th century saw the widespread use of snow to preserve food, refresh drinks and alleviate illness. Snow arrived in Merida from the mountain ranges north of Caceres, which is about 50 minutes away by car today. In the form of blocks of ice, it was transported in carts or on the backs of donkeys. It was then stored in closed warehouses like the one shown here.
Our penultimate stop is at the Circus of Eremita Augusta, constructed in the 1st century AD before the theatre and amphitheatre. There's also suggestion that it was restored in the 4th century and was still working during the 5th century. It's 433 metres long and 114 metres wide and is one of the best conserved and oldest buildings on the Iberian Peninsula. In the 17th century, this was a barley field and wasn't excavated until 1919. Large parts of this were unfortunately destroyed because this was the main road between Lisbon and Madrid. However, you can just about see the gates where the chariots started their races, and the races were started by somebody dropping a handkerchief.
Our final place on our trip here at Merida is the San Lorenzo Aqueduct, which is this building immediately in front of us. Just behind this are the remnants of an earlier Roman aqueduct. And if we look up, can you see the stork's nest right on the top? Well, I think you can say that our gobs have been well and truly smacked. We do try and do research before we visit places, but the guidebooks really didn't prepare us for what we've found here. Merida, what an extraordinary place.
Since we left Portugal, we have been following the Ruta Via de la Plata, or the Silver Road. I'm just wondering if you can guess who built this road. Comments below.
So, another day. Another day, and we are in the town of Cáceres. This is another town on the Ruta del Plata, and obviously will have a Roman influence. But I believe there is also more of an Arabic influence here. Well, we managed to follow our own advice, and today this was a really good tourist information centre, possibly one of the best that we've found, and they were actually helpful. We've entered the old town. The Arab House Museum was conceived in 1965 when the owner of this property bought it, started doing some renovation work and realised that it was actually an Arab house built on Roman foundations. He decided that he wanted to share that cultural history. So what you're seeing is the layout of a traditional Arabic house here in Spain. You entered through the tea room, the dining room where people would sit on the floor, and we continue through. I think it always strikes me about the Arabic time are the colours and the patterns. So we're heading from Cáceres to Banos de Montemayor, and the landscape has really changed. And every now and then there's a fort on the top of a hill. The castle is a 12th century castle built by the Moors. It's absolutely gorgeous, although quite blustery today. So we're a couple of hours further up the Roman road at a little village called Banos de Montemayor. We're in a beautiful valley, and in the town, which is about a 10-minute walk away, there are some baños, thermal spa. We're hoping that we're going to go there tomorrow, although the website is a nightmare. And our park up is right in front of the sports hall. It's free, there are facilities. So, good morning. We're here on our Roman Odyssey, following our Roman road. And as I think we've already indicated, Romans did like to be clean. Well, here at Banos de Montemayor, they've been cleaning Romans and other people for quite some time. So we have an appointment this morning to hopefully go and experience some of the thermal waters in their swimming pool. We're not entirely certain what it is we're allowed to do. There is a museum, and so hopefully we'll be able to give you some more history about the medically thermal waters, and of course there won't be any photographs. The thermal waters here are said to help with all sorts of conditions, from arthritis to respiratory. They have been medically tested. When you come here, in order to take advantage of the swimming area or the thermal area, you need to complete a medical questionnaire. And it does feel very medical. We've had our Banos de Montemayor experience, We had about a 45-minute dip in the thermal pool here. Quite sulphurous.
A little bit rotten eggy, but not terrible.
There are many circuits and many treatments that can be had here. So they do a variety of circuits covering different treatments. So cold water, vascular treatment where water is sprayed at you, and obviously various saunas and things.
If you want to do that, you really do have to book in advance. The only availability was for 7 o'clock tonight.
So the Roman baths here were established before 1 AD and around about that date, and they have been pretty much in constant use up until the end of the Roman period. And then in the 1800s, there was some archaeological digs, and it was around that time that they decided to open a replica bath, which is just through that arch over there, which is where we had our swim today.
We have left Badajoz de Montemayor, and we are going up, it would seem, the Monte Mayor. It's very steep, very windy. Driver's not happy. And we have actually left Extremadura, and we are now in Castile and Leon. A lot of people think Spain is very hot wherever you go. However, that river, the Rio Frio, the river cold, and the ski slope sign we've just seen might tell a different story. We are really enjoying following the Ruta de la Plata. It's absolutely fascinating. Next week, we will be continuing the route and heading towards the end of our time in Spain. We hope you're enjoying it as much as we are. Please subscribe, give us a like, and drop us a comment.